What is up, guys? It's BT back here again with another review. Today I want to look at the most controversial topic that I've ever done on this channel, and it might be in the world. And that debate is the PC versus Mac debate. Now, before we get into it, I want to give a little bit of a background on how I got to this point and a little bit of my background with both OSs. Now, when I was 16, I built my first PC. It was great. I played Counter-Strike, all that good stuff. And then, naturally, I wanted to go to college, and so I needed a laptop. So naturally, I went with a Dell, a PC, right? A year into having this Dell, it died on me. One night, I had a paper due, and it died on me. So whether that was from updates or whatever happened, it just did not work for me. So I've been a huge PC person. I was a huge PC person until all of that happened. And then I had to switch it up because at that time, I believe it was Windows Home that I was using, the one after Windows Vista. It just did not work for me. And I ended up having to go and buy a Mac. I never got what the hype was with Mac. I never got why people would want to give up gaming or having all this, the best hardware for the bang for the buck. And I finally got a MacBook in 2011. It was a MacBook Pro in 2011, and I actually still have it till this day, and it still works perfectly. But we'll get into that later. So this computer changed my life. This laptop changed my life. I used it all the way through college, the rest of my college years. And I also used it up until this last 2016, end of the year, November, when I decided to finally build another PC for video editing. But up until then, it was great. And it just didn't have enough power to get my video editing done properly. So I upgraded it to a PC because, you know what, Apple wasn't coming out with any new MacBook Pro. So I got kind of fed up with them, and I said, you know what, I'm just gonna build a PC because right now I need to be making content, and this is getting in the way of getting content out to you guys. So I built a PC with Windows 10, despite reading that, oh, Windows, you know, is terrible, it crashes on you, this and that, all the Windows stigmas that are still out there. And I just said, you know what, I'm gonna check it out for myself. And you know what I found? I actually found that Windows 10 is a great operating system. It gets out of the way, unlike old Windows systems that were kind of in your way, and you have to go through all these extra steps just to use programs and to install things. And Windows 10 is, I would say, on par with Mac OS in terms of stability and in terms of just usability. So if you read out there that Windows 10 is this or that, go check it out for yourself and see what you think about it, what your own personal opinion of the operating system is. Because a lot has changed from that old Windows Home that just crashed all the time, the blue screens of death. We all remember those. So things have changed. It's 2017, and this is a good system. I've really had a good time using this Windows 10. Now that we got that out of the way, I kind of want to go over some of the pros and cons and some of the things that I read and the research that I've done on these products. I'm not going to bore you guys with all the tech specs and all that, but I just want to give you my opinion and my experience because, you know what, I just grabbed a new 2016 MacBook. Yeah, the one with no SD card and the one with 4 USB-C ports. Yeah, I got that one. Because, you know what, I had to see for myself. So, the base model MacBook Pro 15-inch that I got runs for about $2,400 plus tax. That's insane. For the specs, it has a Skylake processor in it. It doesn't have a 4K screen. It doesn't have a 4K touchscreen like some of the Dells and the Razer Blades and all those things that I was looking at. You can get for that same price. I built my PC and I got a 34-inch Dell widescreen 2K screen, which has been amazing for me. And you say, well, this laptop, how does that equal with old, outdated hardware compared to a beefy PC with all the fixings. And I will leave the specs for both of my computers down below in case you guys are wondering. So why is that? Why do we pay this premium price, the Apple price of $2,400 when we can go out and get a similar priced product from a Windows manufacturer and it'll just have these specs that are just out of the world, has a GTX 1080, 1050, 1060 in it. Why do we go with something with a Radeon 450 in it and Intel graphics? And that is something that I feel like most tech reviewers haven't really touched upon, which is why I'm making this video. And that is the X factor. Now I've had my 2011 MacBook up until 2016, 2017, right? That is 5 to 6 years, and I paid $1,300 for that computer. Now you're telling me over that time span, I had a Dell, remember that? I had a Dell, and it died within the first year, and I spent probably $1,500. So there was a big discrepancy. 1 year for $1,500, or $1,300 for 6 years. And plus, it still runs great. It just cannot run the video programs like Final Cut and Premiere Pro like I needed to. So that's why I upgraded for on-the-go editing. But for just general web browsing, it still works great, and I'm actually gifting it to my parents. So I think that Apple has the X factor because, hear me out, they have the optimized OS for their systems. That means your MacBook or your iMac, it is gonna be taken care of for the next 5 to 6 years. They're making that OS so that it works, it's tested with every single generation to make sure that it works properly. That is the X factor that Apple brings. And therefore the longevity, yeah, you're spending more up front, but over time, let's say you buy a Windows laptop that has the top specs, you can put 32 gigs of RAM in it, whereas the MacBook only has 16 gigs. All these different things, right? With a beefier CPU, a beefier GPU, but is Windows really making Windows for that exact laptop? Or are they making a general OS and get something out there and then update as it goes? And then leaving the manufacturers to kind of figure out, okay, what's wrong? How can we make our hardware work with their software and vice versa? So it's a struggle. It's really a struggle, which kind of sucks. And I know there's a Surface Book and stuff like that, but those are extremely overpriced, I think. I mean, they're a great machine. I've seen them, but I think for the performance, like Dell and all those are still gonna be a little bit better. So that's something to keep in mind. Which brings me to my next point. PC desktops are better than iMacs. Let me tell you why. Because you can update a graphics card, you can update your CPU, you can update your motherboard, your RAM, get faster RAM as time goes on. So you can constantly just put in, you know, a couple hundred here, $100 here, and have a beefier system over time, whereas you don't have to buy $2,000. And then buy another $3,000, and then another $3,000, another $3,000. After so many years, you can kind of just adjust it, customize it how you want. And like I said, Windows 10 is just as stable as Mac OS, in my opinion. One thing that I think why people think that the MacBook is a little bit stabler than the Windows 10 and PCs is that when a PC crashes, it crashes, the whole system crashes. Like an application will crash or a game will crash, right? Sometimes you'll be able to stay in Windows, sometimes you may not. Whereas Mac OS, it will always stay within Mac OS. You're not gonna get a random restart, you're not gonna get all this extra stuff. It's just going to spin the beach ball and then figure it out and then keep you in Mac OS. So there's little things like that that make it seem more stable, but I would say my Mac has crashed as much as my Windows. So I kind of just want to end this off by talking about my experience with the new MacBook Pro. I just got it last week and I've been editing. I edited my last maybe 2 or 3 videos on my MacBook and it's been a pleasure to use. The touch bar, even though it doesn't have a touchscreen, the touch bar has gone past my expectations for the usage of it. I thought I would never touch it, but I actually touch it more often than I thought. I know that sounds sexual, but don't go there. I actually touch the touch bar way more than I thought I would, especially for Final Cut. It's just easy to get to the sound, trimming clips, things like that, and also my web browsing. You can type in the youtube.com into your search bar, or you can just touch the YouTube icon on your touch bar. Little things like that, it just saves a little bit of time here and there. It's just a cool thing to see and have it pop up. It's very eye-catching sometimes. I thought I would never look down at my keyboard, but I find myself being like, oh man, this is actually kind of useful. And you don't really know this and you think it's gimmicky until you actually get it. Because I saw a lot of reviews like, oh, Apple fanboys. You know, I mean, everybody just loves Apple. But I actually used it, and there's actually some functionality behind this touch bar. So don't knock it until you guys try it out. So in conclusion, I just want to say that Mac is great, Apple is great, Windows is great, Dell is great, Razer's great. All these different companies are great. They make great products. The X factor and why I think getting a Mac laptop and why I got a Mac laptop over a Windows laptop is for that X factor, that longevity. And that matters. That matters about how long your product is gonna last. Your money's gonna go longer. You won't have to worry about it. I know with this MacBook, I'm not gonna have to worry. It has USB-Cs, which, you know what, I have a dongle that fixes the problem that they're having of no USB. It has USB, HDMI, SD card reader, all those things. So that really just one-stop shop for my MacBook Pro, and I'll leave that down in the comments below as well. I'll link you guys for that. But when it comes to desktops, I will always be PC biased because just for the customization and what you can get, and just upgrading as you go. You can make it last longer and always have it stay fast. Whereas a MacBook, it's a one-stop shop and it's just gonna be there. It's gonna be the same specs over 5-6 years. So if it slows down halfway through, oh, you're kind of stuck. Whereas a PC, if it stops, if it gets a little slow, you can say, okay, time for a new CPU. Boom. It's like you have a brand new computer. So, laptop, MacBook, desktop, PC. That's just what it is. That's what it comes down to, and that's why I have both operating systems, and you get the best of both worlds. So, guys, both are great. Both have their own little space and what they do better. And one thing that PC does that a MacBook cannot do that well is gaming. So if you're a gamer, of course, you gotta go with the PC. That's just how it goes. But if you're just into productivity, web browsing, all that, the MacBook will do you just fine, or the Windows will do you just fine, just depending on if you're mobile or if you're not mobile. It's really up to you. Mac does some things better, Windows does some things better, but at the end of the day, they're both great systems. So choose which one you want. That's just my recommendation for you guys to save you guys some money and have your money go longer in the long run. So thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you enjoyed this content, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.